From 2014 to 2020, the education sector strategic plan was the focus of divisions across the province. Schools focused on the following: at grade level reading, writing, and math, strengthening collaboration between First Nations Métis and non-First Nations Métis partners to improve First Nations Métis achievement and graduation rates, the graduation rates of all students in the province, kindergarten students exiting with the skills they need to be ready for grade 1, and operational spending. In spring 2018, the Minister of Education and Deputy Premier of Saskatchewan directed the Ministry of Education to engage with sector partners to co-construct a plan that would set the course for the future beyond 2020. The goal for the plan is to reflect the diversity of the province and ensure the presence and voice of First Nations and Métis education organizations as part of the journey towards reconciliation. Other considerations for the future plan are: it is recognized that the plan will build upon the success of the education sector strategic plan, so the previous plan. The plan needs to recognize that improved results cannot be accomplished in isolation and that the plan must respond to the pressures experienced by students, schools, families, communities, and society. It also recognizes that the plan must not only address the challenges present today, but must prepare students to be well-educated, active citizens in their communities, the province, and the world. The planning partners sought to ensure that all needs, requirements, and challenges were taken into account in the development of the framework for the 10-year provincial education plan. A summit was held, online surveys were conducted, and in-person engagement sessions were hosted. Through this engagement work, themes were identified, and the themes and other information gathered were used to develop the pillars, goals, and strategies of the plan. So all this work is in progress, and then a global health pandemic happens. A pause is placed on the 10-year plan, and the focus is shifted to a 1-year interim plan that would get us through the 2021-2022 school year. This plan focused on short-term goals related to the impact of the pandemic. It was later decided that the 1-year interim plan would be reviewed, revised, and be in place for an additional year, which is this current school year. The interim plan has 3 priorities. They are the mental health and well-being priority, the learning response priority, and the learning response priority as it relates to reading. Each of these priorities are broken down into 3 different plans with clear alignment to one another. The provincial level plan outlines the current state, the future state, the deliverables and action items for each priority, and are developed with a provincial lens based on provincial needs and provincial data. The division takes the level 1 plan and determines what deliverables and actions are needed at a division level, which becomes our level 2 plan. Essentially, not every division is going to have the same needs and therefore needs to consider what deliverables and actions are necessary within their own division's context. Just like each division will have different needs, so will each school. Therefore, each individual school then looks at the level 1 and 2 plans and determines what deliverables and actions are necessary based on the individual needs of their schools. These are the level 3 plans, also known as the learning improvement plans. The mental health and well-being priority has 3 deliverables. The first deliverable is to focus on communication among school systems and government ministries to share knowledge of available resources, services, and programming. The second deliverable focuses on the creation and refinement of mental health and well-being plans for each school system to address concerns and share best practices related to mental health and well-being. The third deliverable is the plan includes a mental health and well-being symposium. The intent is to make the symposium an annual event. The learning response as it relates to reading also has 3 deliverables. The first deliverable focuses on communication strategies related to reading and reading support plans for students. The second deliverable is that reading strategies will be implemented to help all students, and reading support plans will target students who require additional supports. The third measurable focuses on oral language and comprehension as the foundation for early literacy. The third priority is the learning response priority, and this priority has two deliverables. The first deliverable being to focus on increasing students' reading and math levels through professional development, increasing awareness, and sharing of resources and best practices. The second deliverable being a communication plan that will be developed to increase student engagement and support students returning to school. Now that I've shared a little bit about the interim plan, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the long-term plan. The big picture of the long-term plan includes pillars, goals, and strategies, with the goals being at the center of the plan. Next to the goals that are in the center, you will find the pillars in green and yellow. And on the outside of this image, you will find the strategies. The framework of the Provincial Education Plan is grounded in 4 pillars: skills and knowledge for future learning, life, and participation in society, mental health and well-being, connections among people and relationships between systems and structures, and inclusive, safe, and welcoming learning environments. When considered from the student perspective, the pillars become I statements. I am learning what I need for my future. I feel safe and supported. I belong. I am valued. I can be myself. To achieve these aspirational goals, the education sector partners will be guided by the following strategies. Curriculum is responsive, relevant, and student-centered. Partnerships and trusting relationships are developed and nurtured. Innovation is practiced throughout the education sector. Equity guides the education sector. Leadership is cultivated throughout the education sector. And proactive and responsive strength-based approaches are taken. The Provincial Education Plan has been a work in progress for a few years now. As a division, we just finished the feedback stage and look forward to seeing the final version of the long-term plan soon. In the fall of 2023, SCCs will have the opportunity to work with their schools on learning improvement plans. As mentioned earlier, these plans align with the Provincial Education Plan.